In the year 2476, amid swirling nebulae and shimmering galaxies, humanity had forged a reputation as gentle mediators in an interstellar community of diverse and ancient races. But beneath the polished veneer of diplomatic decorum lurked a truth known only to a chosen few. Humans were the apex predators of the cosmos, masterful hunters who preyed on the navet of others by masquerading as witless diplomats. This is their story, a tale of deception, ambition, and cosmic carnage, unfolding in 12 gripping chapters that will keep you on the edge of your seat every 30 seconds. Ambassador Lucien Marrow stepped onto the opalescent floor of the Celestial Conclave, a vast orbital platform where the galaxy's ruling species gathered to negotiate peace and trade. His unassuming smile and soft-spoken tone belied the lethal cunning behind his eyes. For centuries, humanity had perfected the art of diplomacy. They played the part of mild-mannered peacemakers while secretly honing their predatory instincts. Tonight, as representatives from the Threnex, the Irillians, and even the elusive Zephyr collective murmured polite greetings, Lucien's mind raced. Every word, every gesture was meticulously calculated. His witless mannerisms were part of an intricate charade. Every 30 seconds, as discussions delved into matters of interstellar security and resource allocation, subtle cues, a slight narrowing of the eyes, a deliberate pause, reminded those who knew where to look that humanity was no ordinary diplomat. In this arena of deception, every moment was a carefully staged performance, and Lucien was both actor and director. The seeds of tension had already been sown. A rogue faction from a distant star system had begun whispering of hidden human aggressions, of a species that had evolved into silent predators. Yet, to the untrained ear, these were nothing more than myths, until tonight. In the shadowed corridors of Earth's most secretive embassy, hidden behind layers of security and encrypted communications, the true nature of humanity's duplicity was revealed. Here, in the dim light of a secure briefing room, Commander Serena Halley addressed a cadre of elite operatives. "We have maintained our facade long enough," she murmured. "Our target, the unsuspecting leaders of the Orion Quadrant. They believe us to be mere diplomats, weak, indecisive, and almost harmless." Maps of star systems, dossiers on alien physiologies, and digital reconstructions of potential battlefields illuminated the room. Each detail served a dual purpose: to inform the operatives and to instill a cold, predatory confidence. Humans had evolved not only in intellect but in ruthlessness, adapting their social behaviors to mask their natural superiority. They feigned incompetence, exuding a self-deprecating charm that lulled even the most vigilant adversaries into a false sense of security. Every 30 seconds, as Serena outlined the next phase of their strategy, the operatives exchanged glances, a silent acknowledgement of the danger they represented. The true power of humanity was not in open confrontation but in the quiet, calculated moments of strategic betrayal. The predators were among them, hidden behind a veil of congeniality. The Grand Hall of the Celestial Conclave was an architectural marvel, a rotating amphitheater with walls that displayed the cosmos in real time. Delegates from dozens of species had gathered, each with their own agendas and hidden fears. The summit was billed as a celebration of unity, yet undercurrents of mistrust flowed like dark energy. Ambassador Marrow's arrival had been met with mixed emotions. Some regarded him with genuine respect, while others sensed an eerie calm in his demeanor. As the summit commenced, each speaker's address was interlaced with coded language, gestures that only the initiated would decipher. For the human contingent, every pause in the conversation was a moment to recalibrate their intricate ruse. Suddenly, an unexpected disturbance rippled through the crowd, a burst of static on the universal translators. For a fleeting moment, alien eyes narrowed in suspicion. In that heartbeat, Marrow's gaze swept across the assembly, calculating. His lips curved into a knowing smile as he seamlessly resumed his role as the amiable diplomat. The disruption was expertly diffused with a well-timed quip about technical difficulties, leaving the gathering none the wiser to the storm brewing beneath the calm surface. Deep within the summit's labyrinthine corridors, Lucien met secretly with emissaries whose loyalty was as shifting as stardust. He engaged in conversations that were deliberately banal, discussing weather patterns on distant moons, the latest culinary fads among the Irilians, even the intricacies of recreational zero-gravity sports. Yet, every casual remark was a veiled reference to his true intentions. While his words appeared light and inconsequential, they were laden with subtext, a linguistic code passed down through generations of human operatives. Each sentence was constructed to mask their predatory ambitions while simultaneously planting ideas of doubt in the minds of rival delegates. Even as the summit's official sessions plodded along, these covert exchanges grew increasingly tense. Every 30 seconds, another hidden layer of the human strategy unfurled, ensuring that their plan remained as fluid and unpredictable as the cosmos itself. For many alien species, the idea that such subtle duplicity could hide lethal intent was unimaginable. The humans' ability to disarm suspicion with a seemingly harmless anecdote was their greatest weapon, a secret that allowed them to straddle two worlds, that of benign diplomacy and cold, calculating predation. As night fell over the orbital platform, the summit shifted into a series of private meetings and clandestine negotiations. Under the cover of darkness, the true predators began to stir. In a secluded chamber, away from prying eyes, a plan was set in motion that would change the course of interstellar politics. Commander Halley, now accompanied by a small, elite strike team, prepared for a silent operation. Their target was a high-ranking delegate from the Threnex, whose alliance with other species threatened to expose the human facade. The operation was simple in theory: infiltrate the delegate's secure quarters, gather critical intelligence, and, if necessary, eliminate the threat without alerting the broader assembly. Every 30 seconds, as Halley checked her instruments and exchanged coded messages with her team, the stakes grew higher. The corridor outside was silent, but the tension was palpable, like the prelude to a storm. With a series of coordinated moves that were as graceful as they were deadly, the team advanced. Their movements were surgical, each step calculated to preserve the illusion of diplomacy while preparing to strike with predatory precision. Meanwhile, in the main hall, Ambassador Marrow engaged in light-hearted banter, his eyes occasionally flickering with an inner fire that belied the calm exterior. Unbeknownst to the rest of the delegates, the human strategy was unfolding in parallel, a dual-layered dance of feigned incompetence and secret aggression. The summit's atmosphere crackled with anticipation, every moment a prelude to potential chaos. The aftermath of the silent pounce was swift and brutal. News of the Threnex delegate's untimely demise spread like wildfire across the summit. In hushed tones, delegates questioned the nature of the attack, their voices trembling with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Some suspected an external saboteur, while others began to murmur about hidden human ambitions. For the human operatives, however, the death was a calculated sacrifice, a necessary move to destabilize the existing order and pave the way for a new cosmic hierarchy. Back in the secure embassy, Commander Halley reviewed the operations data with cold efficiency. It was perfect, she confirmed, her voice devoid of emotion. We've shown them that beneath the guise of harmless diplomacy lies a force capable of swift, decisive action. In the days that followed, the summit's proceedings took on an eerie tension. Every 30 seconds, a new revelation or unexpected twist rippled through the proceedings, a misinterpreted gesture here, a cryptic statement there, ensuring that no delegate felt entirely at ease. The human strategy had succeeded, their predator's heart now beat in the rhythm of chaos, setting the stage for a cosmic power play that few could predict. The alien delegates, caught in a web of suspicion and uncertainty, began to reassess their alliances. Some clung to hope for peaceful resolutions, while others prepared for the worst. Amid the swirling rumors and quiet dread, the humans maintained their placid demeanor, their smiles as disarming as ever. The apex predators were at work, and the galaxy was slowly waking up to the unsettling truth. Amid the mounting tension, a pivotal meeting was arranged in a secluded quadrant of the summit, one designed to address the rising fears and realign the interstellar alliances. Ambassador Marrow took center stage once more, his calm voice belying the storm of ambition that churned beneath. "We stand at the crossroads of destiny," he declared to the assembled leaders. "Let us not allow fear to dictate our future." But behind his reassuring words lay a calculated gamble. Marrow's carefully orchestrated rhetoric was a blend of diplomatic warmth and subtle threats, a gambit meant to keep the assembly off balance. Every sentence was constructed to remind his audience that while humans might seem harmless, they possessed an inscrutable power waiting to be unleashed. His eye swept over the crowd, noting the fleeting expressions of doubt and uncertainty. At that very moment, unknown to the gathered delegates, a countermeasure was being initiated by an ambitious faction within the human ranks. A radical plan to expose their true nature was set into motion by a young operative who believed that honesty, even brutal honesty, would solidify humanity's supremacy. This rogue element planned to leak classified data on human operations to several alien intelligence networks. The tension in the room was palpable, as if every 30-second pause held the potential for betrayal. As Marrow continued his address, the undercurrent of danger became almost tangible. His words resonated like the quiet before a storm that would either cement humanity's dominance or shatter the delicate equilibrium of interstellar trust. The room was a powder keg of hidden agendas and simmering ambitions, each moment a potential trigger for catastrophic change. In the midst of escalating paranoia, the summit reached a state of surreal contradiction. On the one hand, humans continued to champion peaceful resolutions, hosting lavish feasts and engaging in light-hearted repartee. On the other hand, their covert operations grew bolder, their predatory instincts coming dangerously close to exposure. The diplomatic paradox was in full display, the species that outwardly embraced cooperation, while secretly maneuvering to dominate the very fabric of interstellar politics. During a late-night session in a quiet chamber adorned with holographic star maps, Marrow engaged in a confidential conversation with an emissary from the Valorians, a race known for their shrewd intellect and unerring sense of strategy. "The universe is not kind to the weak," Marrow intoned softly. "Sometimes, one must appear vulnerable to strike with lethal precision." His words, seemingly philosophical, were in fact a declaration of intent. As the conversation unfolded, an unanticipated twist sent ripples through the chamber. The Valorian emissary, having pieced together fragments of classified human communications, questioned the authenticity of their diplomatic facade. In that tense moment, every heartbeat seemed to echo with the weight of impending revelation. Yet, Marrow's calm response and his ability to weave logic with veiled threats diffused the situation, temporarily at least. Every 30 seconds, a new undercurrent of intrigue emerged, a furtive glance, a whispered exchange in a shadowed corridor, a cryptic message transmitted over encrypted channels. The summit had become a living organism, its every cell vibrating with secrets. The diplomatic paradox was not merely a political riddle, it was the engine driving a cosmic drama where every participant risked becoming prey in a meticulously staged hunt. Just as the summit appeared to have settled into an uneasy calm, cracks began to appear in humanity's carefully constructed facade. A brilliant but unassuming alien scholar, Professor Zalin of the Aurelian Academy, had dedicated months to studying the nuances of human behavior. His research revealed a pattern, a subtle yet persistent discrepancy in their diplomatic communications that hinted at a deeper, more predatory nature. Late one evening, Zalin publicly presented his findings during a plenary session. His data, replete with encrypted transcripts and behavioral analyses, suggested that the humans were not the bumbling diplomats they appeared to be. Instead, they were orchestrating a grand strategy of predation, designed to seize control of vital interstellar resources. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Every 30 seconds, gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd, and the atmosphere shifted from cordiality to raw tension. For a moment, the summit teetered on the brink of chaos. Delegates demanded accountability, and fierce debates erupted over the implications of Zalin's discoveries. In the midst of the uproar, Ambassador Marrow maintained his composure. With a disarming smile and measured tone, he addressed the assembly. "In every great strategy, there are layers of truth and deception. Let us not forget that power, in any form, is inherently dangerous." His words, though intended to quell dissent, only added to the ambiguity. Was he acknowledging a hidden truth or merely manipulating the narrative? The room was divided. Some delegates began to suspect that the humans' diplomatic persona was a ruse designed to mask an insatiable hunger for dominance, while others clung to the hope that reason could prevail over instinct. The revelation marked a turning point. The summit was no longer a stage for polite discourse, it had become an arena of survival, where every 30-second revelation forced each delegate to question their alliances, their loyalties, and even their very nature. In the aftermath of the explosive revelations, the delicate balance of the summit shattered into a maelstrom of suspicion and retribution. As tensions escalated, reports began to surface of covert skirmishes on remote outposts and the disappearance of key figures who had dared to challenge the human narrative. The once ornate halls of the celestial conclave now echoed with the whispers of betrayal and the distant sounds of interstellar conflict. Amidst the chaos, a series of orchestrated attacks struck several Allied outposts in the Orion Quadrant. Each incident bore the unmistakable hallmarks of human precision, calculated, swift, and ruthlessly efficient. Commander Halley oversaw the response with cold detachment, her team operating in the shadows to ensure that any evidence linking the humans to these brutal acts would be expunged. Every 30 seconds, a new report of violence or subterfuge made its way through the network of alien intelligence channels, amplifying the growing panic. Delegates found themselves trapped in a vicious cycle of mistrust, forced to reckon with the realization that the very architects of peace had become its predators. The irony was as chilling as it was undeniable. The species that had built their reputation on diplomatic niceties was now at the epicenter of a blood-soaked campaign. As the interstellar community teetered on the edge of open warfare, the humans continued to play their dual roles with uncanny precision. In public forums, they decried the chaos and called for unity. In secret, they exploited the disorder to further consolidate their power, ensuring that every act of aggression ultimately served their long-term ambitions. The echoes of carnage reverberated across the cosmos, a grim symphony that signaled the dawn of a new, terrifying era. With the old alliances in ruins and the galaxy splintered by distrust, the stage was set for a radical reordering of power. In a series of high-stakes meetings conducted in the aftermath of the summit, the surviving alien leaders were forced to confront a stark choice: continue clinging to a crumbling system of outdated diplomacy, or forge a new order in which the brutal truths of survival were acknowledged and embraced. Ambassador Marrow, ever the consummate strategist, emerged as a key architect of this new reality. In a closed-door conference held on a heavily fortified space station, he proposed a revolutionary framework that blended diplomatic negotiation with the undeniable logic of predator-prey dynamics. The era of pretension is over, he stated. We must accept that strength, subtlety, and yes, even violence, are intrinsic to the survival of our species. Only by embracing these truths can we build a stable future. His proposal was met with mixed reactions. Some delegates, wearied by the constant threat of annihilation, saw in his words a pragmatic path forward, a way to harness the inevitable chaos and redirect it into a structured, if ruthless, system of governance. Others recoiled at the notion of open predation, fearing that the delicate threads of trust could never again be woven into a tapestry of lasting peace. Yet, as the discussions progressed, it became clear that the human strategy had already borne fruit. The apex predators had forced the galaxy to confront its own vulnerabilities, compelling even the most idealistic species to acknowledge that the old order was untenable. Slowly, grudgingly, a consensus emerged, a new cosmic contract, written not in the language of sanitized diplomacy, but in the raw, unyielding terms of power and survival. Every 30 seconds in those tense sessions, a new element of the proposal was debated, a new compromise struck. The process was painful and fraught with peril, but it promised a stability built on honesty and mutual respect among those who understood the brutal nature of existence. The human diplomats, with their feigned witlessness now unmasked as a clever guise, had inadvertently become the catalysts for a transformative shift in interstellar politics. As the new order began to crystallize across the stars, the galaxy found itself at a crossroads, one that would determine the future of countless civilizations. The legacy of the summit, with all its bloodshed and betrayal, served as a stark reminder that beneath every veneer of civility lurked a primal instinct for survival and domination. Ambassador Marrow, now both revered and reviled, stood before a council of interstellar leaders on a newly established forum known as the Nexus of Truth. His voice, steady and resolute, addressed the assembly with the weight of someone who had witnessed the collapse of old paradigms and the birth of a new era. "We have all played our parts in this grand drama," he proclaimed. "Today, we choose to live not in the illusion,